Hey guys, Jake here from Inside Sim Racing. Today I'm going to show you how to tune the MOZA mBooster. Today we're just going to start with the GT preset. MOZA Pit House has an iRacing McLaren 720S setup, and that's one we're going to be using today. You can tell quickly that it changed the pedal travel, and MOZA Pit House provides a bunch of different configuration settings for how to tune your pedal. Today we're just going to start with the base preset and go from there. Now that we've got the preset loaded in MOZA Pit House, I'm going to take the Mustang GT3 out at Long Beach to do some test laps. So after a few laps, I noticed that I think I'd like to have a little bit more pedal travel and make the pedal just a bit softer. So let's go back into MOZA Pit House and make some adjustments. So coming back here into MOZA Pit House, it looks like the pedal travel is already still pretty lenient, but I think I just want to adjust it just to have a little bit more. And when coming to overall kilograms of force, I think I'm going to drop that down to 120 to about 90 or so. And going over here to ABS, I noticed that the smoothness on the ABS was pretty high, and I wasn't feeling quite a lot of thump in the pedals. So I'm going to drop that down and see if that invokes any more feeling in the pedal. Let's finalize these settings and get back into iRacing and see how we feel about it. I'm noticing after changing how soft the pedal is, the travel range for the pedal, and the ABS settings, that it makes it a lot easier for me to gauge and modulate where I'm at on my braking and trail braking. Overall, very good changes so far. So I liked how those changes felt. I'm going to go back into MOZA Pit House and show you just the vast amount of ways that you can tune these pedals. To give you an idea of just how much you can change these pedals, if you look by setting the pedal travel all the way down to 5.7 millimeters to 10.2, I mean, I can barely move this thing and get full pedal travel. So by having a GT3 car, and the reasoning why I made the pedal travel farther is because, you know, it's more of a street production car. So, you know, you want a lot of pedal travel, and you want to be able to have a lot of modulation. So by changing that pedal travel, you can see just how much farther I can go into the pedal, and you can go even farther if you wanted. I mean, you can really go deep with this thing. Showing that up, I mean, kilograms of force, you can really drop this thing down, and I'm barely pressing on this. You could go all the way up to 200, and I'm going to break my seat with the amount of force I'm putting on this thing. You can get an idea. In terms of pedal feel, if you really, are keen and like having a very mechanical pedal, I'd recommend definitely having natural dampening down on the pedal. So it's, just very raw, just very direct feeling. But if you really like having a slow pedal coming out, especially if you're, big on modulating brake, you can apply things like natural damping on when release. So when you push in the pedal, it's going to be very firm and very direct. But once you let off, it's very slow, as in there's dampening, and it's providing assistance to your foot as you're letting off, which for some people can make it a lot easier to trail brake and modulate the braking. Some others like a very direct feeling. It just really depends on your preference. If you're familiar with force feedback curves, you can notice that right now we have it set up on linear. A lot of people like to have it, set up on, very spiky curves where they have a lot of initial bite and then it slowly weans off to the top. Some other people like a very slow wean in and just a very gradual, travel up to the top. I personally like to have my force feedback curve set up on linear, just have a very direct feeling on the brakes. Going into simulator input mapping, we're not quite sure exactly what the correlation is between this and pedal feel. But one thing we can tell you is they do have an option between angle and load cell. And it basically just changes the feelings between the pedal, as it says, between angle and load cell. If you're used to a load cell and want to make it feel like a load cell, you can do that. If you're used to, a mechanical pedal and want to keep it at angle, you can do that too. What I've noticed with this pedal, we have tried load cell and both angle, but I personally like the feeling of the angle. Completely preference up to you, but this is what we're running for our current setup. Going to the effect tab, you can see that there's a lot of options here presented that you can change. On the default preset for this setup, you can see that they only have ABS setup. You can see throughout the entire MOZA Penthouse software that they have these little bubbles with the exclamation point. You can see that they give you a detailed explanation as to what that feeling or that effect does to change what you're feeling in the pedal. You can go around and really play around with this and really learn and, really soak in all the information there is that they provide in terms of how to really fine-tune the pedal to what exactly it is that you want to feel. Effects is where it can get really detailed, really fast, and honestly feel quite overwhelming. For this GT3 car and other cars that like it, you're really probably only going to want to run like ABS and maybe TC. You can see that ABS here is the only thing on this preset that is enabled, and there's plenty of things you can turn these on, off. I feel by having too many effects going on at one time, it can feel a little disillusioned and probably not give you the greatest communication on the brakes. So we recommend just kind of playing around with them and picking them apart one by one and just kind of seeing how they feel. I can tell you that with, like GT3 cars, for example, you're probably only going to want to have like ABS on it, or ABS and wheel lockup. Wheel lockup, for example, is something you're probably really going to want to have on anything that doesn't have ABS or TC of anything of the sorts, because wheel lockup is probably going to be your one thing that communicates to you if on the edge of the limit of the tires. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you've liked this brief look into the MOZA mBooster. Right now, I'm going to go out and trim some more laps. Hope to see you around.